On What's Brewing today, MoveInSync, an employee transport platform, has made its first strategic acquisition, bringing eFmFm under its wing. The deal boosts MoveInSync's client count by 50, taking the total to over 400, and makes it the first company to move more than 1 million employees daily. With over 100,000 vehicles now on its platform, this acquisition signals bigger ambitions, more innovation, more scale, and possibly more deals ahead. Joining us now to discuss this further is Deepesh Agarwal, the CEO and co-founder of MoveInSync. Deepesh, thank you so much for taking time out and being here with us on Startup Street. Let's start by you taking us through the deal contours. How much did you buy eFmFm for? And can you walk us through the strategic reasons behind choosing eFmFm for your first acquisition? What made them the right fit at this point for MoveInSync?
Thanks, Arundathi, and pleasure to be on the show. I think as a company, MoveInSync has been focused on safe and sustainable employee commute. Before acquisition of eFmFM, we already ferry 8 lakh employees in this country, and we do have presence outside the country. I think our acquisition of eFmFM, we've been I would also say that as a startup, doing your first acquisition is a interesting thing. It does take a lot of thought, energy. So we wanted to get it right. And I think apart from things like boosting client roster and revenues, I think what's very important is the ethos of the company match. And I think we've certainly been able to strike a right balance between all the 3 components which I spoke about in this mix. And that was the reason of acquiring eFmFM.
Right. And what specific synergies do you expect to unlock through this acquisition? And how do you plan to sort of integrate the 2 platforms? And what will this mean for existing customers as well as the team at eFmFM?
Sure. So, Arundathi, I think one of the things which we've seen in India, and maybe I'll broadly speak about sectors like retail, hotel industry, construction. I think India is a growing economy, and with growing economy, it's normal to see unorganized sectors becoming organized. And when companies like us try to organize, I think we do find niche players. And in this case, it was eFmFM, which we found as a niche player, as a part of our strategy going forward, where we are trying to organize and see like-minded players. So I think that is the reason. And maybe going forward, while it's early to say, I think we will certainly be continuing on this journey of acquisitions going forward. Let's break down the question in terms of the eFmFM clients. I think because what they bring to the table, I think passion for customers is what they've been they really have been focused on. We're very proud to have their customers, some of them like Genpact, EXL, Shell on our rosters to sort of learn from them. We will continue to serve them, hopefully from the offerings which we have now. They will have a broader set of offerings to choose from. And I think there are certainly very interesting things in the innovation quotient which eFmFM has done, which I think we will benefit to learning. In terms of their employees, we are certainly very committed. It has been a very lean and thin team, but we are very committed, and we've already onboarded them from different offices and included them in the MoveInSync team.
Sure, absolutely. So if you could then quickly take us through the kind of demand that MoveInSync currently has. And, like you mentioned, with this acquisition, you also hope to add about 50 global clients onto your roster, right? So can you also quantify how much this will contribute to MoveInSync's top line in the coming fiscal year?
So MoveInSync as a company does the primary business is split into 2 segments. Both are employee commute related businesses, and as I mentioned earlier, we will now be touching 1 million employees in this country every day whom we ferry, which will be 20% of the IT BPO workforce in this country. So I think to your question of what will be the revenue contribution, I would say we are looking at a boost of around 10% of our revenues by this acquisition is what we look at. But I think hopefully when we do synergies, I think adding some of these global clients on our rosters will also open up opportunities for not just India, but outside India as well.
Right. So looking at opportunities outside India as well. So does this mean that the acquisition sort of is just the beginning of a broader M&A strategy for MoveInSync? What's the inorganic growth roadmap? Are you looking at other companies? What's the plan on this front?
I think we remain very cautious but very hopeful, and I think that's what we've always seen, and generally from our board members in the board meetings. As I've heard this line that doing acquisitions is the easy part, integrating them into your DNA, making sure they are successful is the difficult part. And I think as a student, I've myself read about the acquisition strategies and how to integrate them. So I think we've been very cautious with this first integration and very hopeful. But as you hinted, we do feel that there is a certain value as we keep growing and becoming one of the largest players and increasing. I think inorganic and acquisitions do seem like a good playbook, I must say.
And, before I let you go, what's the broader growth outlook for MoveInSync over the next 2 to 3 years? Are you looking at new markets, global ones perhaps? What about, other segments that you're planning to tap into?
Sure. I think the new markets which we recently tapped into, which are similar like India, are countries which provide commute to their employees. While they're not as big as India, but interesting markets have certainly been Philippines, South Africa for us. Recently, we signed up clients in Egypt. So those are some of the interesting markets. Otherwise, Arundhati, what we've seen very interesting in India, which is also an interesting segment aligning with the impetus on manufacturing has been the manufacturing segment. I think a lot of firms these days are opening up large units, and I think some of the global ones we see as in Foxconn, a lot of automobile manufacturers, and the Indian ones like Tata, etc., are putting their weight behind it. So I think that's a segment where we're seeing a lot of growth, and most of these units do happen to be outside of the city, and hence employee commute becomes an important need. So I think both globalization and within India, also some of these newer segments are two important areas which we will focus on in the future.
All right, Deepesh, thank you so much for taking time out and being here with us on Startup Street, and we wish you all the best going forward.
Thank you so much. Pleasure to be here.